Hey, what is up guys? It is Silver Sun here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a review on Dungeons, and More Dungeons. Now, as we all were thinking, this episode kinda was a bit of filler until the end though. I mean, I knew that there was going to be a couple of secrets in there, moved in and stuff like that. But I thought this episode was pretty good. I liked all the jokes that they said, especially the jokes about the DuckTales show. It kind of just correlated with the actual show itself, all the fans, waiting for the next episode and all that stuff, those kinds of jokes. I thought that was pretty funny, and like most people were thinking, Dipper's gonna hang out with Ford more, Mabel's gonna hang out with Stanley more, and that's pretty much what happened. So pretty much the episode just starts off after the last episode, everything's all messed up, the whole town's all messed up because of the portal and stuff like that, and pretty much Dipper just wants to hang out with the author, but he can't because he's in the portal room and stuff like that, while Mabel and Stanley try to watch a season final of Duck Detectives, stuff like that, just silly stuff, and they pretty much invite Grenda to join them with it and stuff. So pretty much Dipper just wants to, play the game Dungeons, and More Dungeons with everyone, but no one wants to really play with them except for Ford and stuff like this. And this episode to me just felt a bit predictable in how it was gonna go, except for the ending kinda, and I'll talk about that, near the end, obviously. But so pretty much he eventually finds the portal room from, well, at first he was playing with Gompers, the goat of all things, and stuff like that, and then pretty much his dice just went under the stairs or something like that, and he fell through a hole. And I don't know if it was me or something, but the author's voice, like when he called Dipper, it sounded different or something. I don't know what that was about. But pretty much he goes down there, and then the author, he, well, Dipper's just like wondering stuff, like, what we've been wondering, like what the author was doing, in the portal for 30 years and all that stuff, and he doesn't really tell him. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna keep that a secret. I don't want you to tell anyone and all that stuff. And then, but then he said, like, he did get this dice. It was like an infinity dice and stuff like that. And there were a lot of jokes about the board game, like with, like different versions of it and all that stuff. I thought that was kind of funny. But they end up playing the game, and for some reason they still have the infinity dice. I don't know why. And pretty much the infinity dice, it just like anything could happen, like if you roll it and stuff like that. Eventually it's the nighttime, and pretty much Dipper and Mabel are just hanging out, and they're pretty much just like talking about, like, you've been hanging out a lot with Ford, and you've been hanging out a lot with Stanley, and there wasn't really too much tension with it. It was just sort of, stating what was happening, I guess, just sort of setting up some things to will probably come later. But pretty much that happens, and then the next day they're in the room when the season final is about to come on for Mabel and Stanley, and then pretty much the two twins, Stanford and Stanley, sort of fight a little and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, the infinity dice rolls. The dice that can make anything happen, and so it rolls, and then the wizard and stuff like that. All of them come out, the villains from the game, and he's voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. I don't really know too much about this voice actor other than he's been on other shows before and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool to have a famous voice actor like that in the show, other than J.K. Simmons. Then he pretty much captures Dipper and Stanford and takes them to the woods so that then he could like eat their brains because they're like really smart at the game and all that stuff. And so pretty much Dip, well, not Dipper, Grunkle Stan and Mabel go after them, and Grenda, she's there but she doesn't do too much. Well, I mean, she does knock out one of the gremlins, I think, goblins, a big ogre thing. And so pretty much they eventually find them and stuff like that, and they they have to play the board game, Mabel and Stanley, in order to get Stanford and Dipper free, and then eventually Dipper and Stanford are in the game, and they have to play the game in order for them to win. And pretty much the rules are that like they can really make up like whatever they want to and stuff like that. And in the end, there's like this big like monster thing, and it's like one of the final bosses or something like that. And then pretty much they roll, the highest number on the dice, so a 38, I'm pretty sure. Stanley rolls it, and pretty much he just had gum under it, so that's how it stopped on the 38. And pretty much he saves him, and then Dipper's just like, "Oh, that was cool, you know, Stan." Well, he said Grunkle Stan. They called him Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford. But pretty much he just like thanks him and stuff like that. And then pretty much Stanford's just like, "Yeah, I know this stuff is nerdy and all that, but you know, if you and Stanford want to play it and stuff like that, then I won't get in your guys' way and everything." And pretty much at the end, it's kind of like, well, they watch Duck Detectives, you know, Mabel and Stanley, while Stanford and Dipper are down in the portal room, I guess, in the little laboratory, and pretty much he was just saying like, you know, what Dipper told him earlier, saying like, "Oh, what have you been doing, you know, all this time down here, down in the portal room, stuff like that." And pretty much he shows him that he dismantled the portal and stuff like that, and it kind of reminds me of sock opera, the way Bill broke the laptop and stuff like that. Like, you know, people were thinking, "Oh, you know, we're probably gonna get some secrets out of it or something like that," but no, it just gets destroyed again and stuff like that. And I mean, he could probably rebuild it, who knows, but I don't know how I feel about it right now. I mean, it is what it is, but that's not the main thing. That's pretty crazy. At the like very end, I guess, like he shows him this little ball, and it's like a ripped dimension or something like that. And like pretty much he tells him like, you know, it's crazy, like he could contain it for now, but pretty much like if it like lets out or something, then something crazy could happen. And it's like a weird like different dimension kind of thing. And they were talking about that a couple of times throughout the episode, you know, different universes and all that stuff, which I think is pretty cool, you know, especially through the portal and stuff like that, you know, different dimensions and all that. And I thought it was gonna show like Bill or something like that at the end, because it just seemed like something like that was gonna happen, but no, it just sort of zoomed in and then it just like cut off. But all in all, I thought this episode was pretty good. I knew that there was gonna be something at the end that would, you know, like further the story a bit, and I can't wait to see like what happens with that whole little dimension thing. Like, I wonder if that's Bill's dimension or if it's just something else or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this episode. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode in the comments below or something like that. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So Silver Sun is out.